Nicholas No is the editor-in-chief of MideastWire.com. It's a Beirut-based news service, and he joins us live from Athens. Thanks very much for being with us and for your time here on Al Jazeera. Are we seeing an unprecedented wave of these forced evacuation warnings? It seems like there are a lot of people on the move in southern Beirut and southern Lebanon right now.
Well, more than certainly, let's say, last year's war. Sure, but let's remember that there's a long history of forced displacement, Israeli invasions in Lebanon. By my count, it depends on how you want to count these conflicts, but this is about the fourth large-scale invasion, or at least, deep incursions into Lebanese territories that looks like it's gathering. And certainly this will be probably one of the, as it's gathering tonight, one of the largest bombardments of civilian populated areas in Beirut. But let's remember that in 1982, the Israeli army invaded all the way up to Beirut. They surrounded the capital for several months. They cut off water. They bombarded the area until the PLO were forced out of the country. So there's a long history of this. And unfortunately, the Lebanese have been experiencing this in different generations for quite some time. But this looks much more expansive than what happened a year ago in the ceasefire that ended.
Well, and Lebanon itself is in a difficult position, isn't it? Certainly economically, to deal with this at the moment. How difficult is it going to be for all of these people who are on the move and for the government to take care of them as this is happening?
Impossible. The situation is incredibly dark. And let's remember, too, that the Israelis have expressed an interest regionally in stoking sectarian conflicts. And I think most of the smart money is that the Israelis are attempting in these evacuation orders and in the bombings themselves to try to exacerbate pre-existing sectarian divisions. Because the best outcome for the Israelis, from their point of view, at least this is what's been expressed by top Israeli leaders and think tankers, etc., is not for the Israeli army to go back into Lebanon for the fourth time. They occupied a huge part of South Lebanon for 20 plus years. That was disastrous for them. And their ground troops are not very well regarded. They had an impossible time trying to roust Hamas from a 20 square mile sandbox essentially. So this looks very dangerous to them, to actually go deeper into Lebanese territory, to invade farther than we believe they are these hours now, which is pushing a few miles deeper into Lebanon. Indeed, the best course of action, best between quote marks for them, would be to have the Lebanese fight themselves and have a failed state and have Europe deal with the consequences and have the Lebanese deal with the consequences. I think that's absolutely, obviously, utterly immoral and illegal, but it also will be disastrous for Israel. Every single time Israel has done this over these last 50 years of continued invasions of Lebanon, for whatever reasons, justified or not, the result has been they have created more powerful enemies that are more determined, more well-equipped, and are actually fight better. So I suspect that after all of this carnage has happened, that Israel will not find itself in a more secure position, certainly not with a sectarian war, as some of them have seemed to have wanted or think might be the strategic best play at this point.